Hi, welcome to our latest webinar. So yesterday we had further announcements from Rishi Sunak in terms of changes and updates to the job support scheme. So I thought we'd just spend sort of 5 minutes or so just running through a quick summary of what those changes are and what the scheme now looks like. Let me share a few slides with you. Okay, so the new job support scheme. So it's constantly evolving, constantly updating, and obviously changing very much from when it was first launched. There are, in effect, two strands now. There is the strand for those who are in Tier 1 and Tier 2 of lockdown, known as the open strand, and then there is the second strand, the closed strand, for those who are in Tier 3 or who are in Tier 1 and 2 areas, but which are closed due to coronavirus restrictions. So things like nightclubs that are simply prevented from opening at all. So we'll run through quickly the two strands. So the first strand, as I say, is going to be the main one, is hopefully going to impact most people. As of yesterday, the government has confirmed that employees, in order to claim under this scheme, employees must work a minimum of 20% of their usual working hours. So obviously someone who works 5 days a week, that's a 1 day minimum. During that time, they will be paid their full pay rate by you because they're working. And then for any non-working hours, they will be paid up to 2/3 of their wages. 5% of that will come from you as the employer, and 61.67% of that will then come from the government. The remaining third will effectively be forfeited. Now, your contribution, the 5% contribution, is capped at £125 per month. The government contribution, as you can see there, is capped at £1,541.57. Now, there are no sector limitations for this. Any type of business can claim, and the employees don't need to have previously been furloughed. Indeed, as the employer, you don't need to have ever used the furlough scheme before in order to be able to claim under this scheme. The employee must, however, have been on your payroll on or before the 23rd of September, which was when this scheme was first announced. Now, you do still remain responsible for the full national insurance and pension contributions on the payments to the employee, as previously with the furlough scheme, you must agree with the individual the short-time working arrangement. That agreement must be confirmed in writing and must be kept for 6 years should HMRC ever want to come and have a look at it. Now, employees can come and go on and off the scheme, just like the previous furlough scheme and the flexi furlough. They can be in work full time, but then drop out of it. And then if work picks up again, you can pull them back in. But each period of short-time working must be for a minimum of 7 days. We're still waiting to see the actual sort of full details of how you're going to claim the money back on the scheme. You will be able to do that from December, and we'll get more details on that. But it's very clear that the scheme will be paid in arrears, so you'll need to have the cash in order to fund those payments before claiming back. Under the furlough scheme, payments were made in the vast majority of cases within sort of 3 or 4 days, up to about a week. Hopefully that will continue through this scheme, and certainly that seems to be the intention. All small and medium-sized businesses will qualify. From that, we're talking fewer than 250 employees. they will qualify automatically. Employers with more than 250 employees must take a financial impact test. That's a fairly straightforward exercise looking at the guidance at the moment, and it's simply the VAT returns from August to November last year, compare them to August to November this year. If the sales figures submitted in your VAT return are at the same level or less than the same period last year, then you will be able to claim. However, the government expects that any larger business that does claim under the scheme will not declare dividends or make any capital distributions whilst claiming under the scheme. Importantly, and in stark contrast to the furlough scheme, under the job support scheme, employees cannot be made redundant. They cannot be placed on notice, and the job support scheme is not cannot be used to effectively fund their notice pay. That doesn't mean you can't make employees redundant, but you must pull them off the scheme before making them redundant, and you would have to pay them their full notice pay. So there is a sting in the tail there. Fundamentally, this is about supporting, as Mr. Sunak says, viable jobs. It is not about subsidising their redundancy payouts or their notice pay. So that's the first strand. The open strand applies to tiers 1 and to tiers 2. Looking then into tiers 3, and in particular those businesses that are compulsory shut, or compulsory closed, I should say, under tier 3, there is then this additional layer of support, in effect a continuation of the furlough scheme, and applies to all businesses, as I say, closed due to tier 3 or nationally due to some other coronavirus restrictions. The employees will receive 2/3 of their pay, capped at just shy of £2,100. The government will pay all of that for you, and as it stands at the moment, you must, however, still pay the national insurance and the pension contributions, but the salary fully goes over to the government. Again, the scheme will run from the 1st of November, and you can only claim whilst the restrictions are in place. So when you come out of tier 3, or if your business is allowed to reopen due to a national relaxation of the rules, you would come out of that. The employees must be off for a minimum of 7 days, and again, the payment is made in arrears, which it can cause some difficulties. But again, the payments are during the furlough scheme have been paid very, very quickly. So hopefully that won't be a deterrent for too many. So the scheme is still evolving, it's still developing, we're still getting more detail, and obviously as the government's rules in relation to lockdowns and how we're dealing with coronavirus will continue to evolve, and it wouldn't surprise us if the restrictions on working are ratcheted up so that they must be doing more hours, and the contribution from the government starts to reduce, probably December, January time, but we wait to see. So I hope you found that useful. If you'll see my details on the screen. If I can be of, if you've got any questions or we can be of any service, please do give us a call or drop us an email. Thank you very much.